On May 22, 2018, the Manhattan police raided a lavish Manhattan loft and arrested a woman who had been posing as a German heiress, only to discover she was a 30-year-old New Yorker named Anna Sofia, a master of illusion who had swindled the city's elite out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Born Anja Sofia Sörensen in 1991 in the Soviet-occupied town of Domodedovo, Russia, she moved with her family to the small German town of Dulman at the age of 8. Her mother's work as a nurse and her father's modest job as a truck driver offered no glimpse of the aristocratic pedigree she would later fabricate. After a turbulent adolescence marked by rebellion and a brief stint at a fashion school in Berlin, Sorokin boarded a plane to New York in 2013, armed with a single suitcase, a forged passport, and an audacious vision to become Anna Delvey, a mysterious, cash-rich scion of a European banking dynasty. The first act of her deception unfolded in the glittering world of Manhattan's social scene. With a meticulously curated wardrobe of Chanel, Dior, and Balmain, and a confident, non-native English accent, she slipped into the orbit of the city's tastemakers. She claimed to be the daughter of a wealthy German banking family, poised to inherit a fortune that would allow her to launch a multi-million-dollar arts club, a five-star haven for artists, designers, and influencers. In reality, her bank accounts were empty, her credit cards maxed, and her savings a handful of euros. Delvey's con operated on a simple premise. She would secure high-end services on credit, promising payment once her trust fund arrived. She booked a 3-month stay at the 11-story, 30-room Hotel Carlyle, a boutique establishment known for its celebrity clientele. When the invoice arrived, she vanished, leaving the hotel with an unpaid bill of $30,000. She was not deterred. In 2015, she persuaded a group of investors to back a $100,000 art show at the upscale Gallery Kith, promising a spectacular exhibition that never materialized. In 2017, she convinced a friend to pay the $50,000 deposit for a luxurious townhouse in Soho, promising to reimburse the amount once her parents wired the funds that never came. The pattern repeated across the city's most exclusive venues. She dined at the River Cafe, took a private jet to the Hamptons, and even secured a coveted spot on a Fashion Week runway, all under the pretense of imminent wealth. Her victims included the owner of a boutique hotel, a restaurateur, a fashion photographer, and a friend who mortgaged her own home to cover Delvey's unpaid hotel tab. In total, she accrued at least $275,000 in stolen funds and services, leaving a trail of unpaid bills, broken contracts, and bewildered creditors. The house of cards began to crumble in late 2017 when a former friend, who had lent Delvey $30,000 for a real estate venture, filed a police report after the money disappeared. The New York Police Department opened a fraud investigation, and in April 2018, Delvey was arrested in a hotel lobby, handcuffed in front of stunned onlookers. The charges were staggering: grand larceny in the first degree, attempted grand larceny, and theft of services. The case quickly became a media sensation, feeding a public appetite for stories of high society deception. The trial, held in Manhattan's criminal court in 2019, was a theatrical affair that mirrored the spectacle Delvey herself had created. Prosecutors presented a mountain of evidence: text messages, emails, hotel invoices, and testimony from over 30 witnesses who described the elaborate ruse. The defense attempted to argue that Delvey's actions were the result of a misguided, but genuine, entrepreneurial spirit, an ambitious immigrant who simply thought she would be reimbursed. The jury, however, found the narrative unconvincing. On April 4, 2019, after a week of testimony, the jury convicted Sorokin on 5 felonies, including grand larceny and theft of services. The judge sentenced her to a term of 4 to 12 years in prison, a $40,000 fine, and in order to pay restitution of $199,000, a sum that would likely remain unpaid. While behind bars, Delvey's story only grew louder. In 2020, she was transferred to Rikers Island, where she earned a reputation for both charm and controversy, writing letters to the press and maintaining a social media presence from behind the steel bars. In February 2021, a federal judge reduced her sentence by 1 year after she agreed to a plea deal that involved an additional $190,000 restitution payment, though the payment never fully materialized. She was released from prison in February 2021, placed on a year-long supervised release, and later transferred to a halfway house before finally being released outright in October 2021. Freedom, however, did not mean anonymity. Sörensen reinvented herself once again, this time as a media personality. She secured a deal for a memoir titled My Friend Anna, published in 2022, and became the subject of a Netflix limited series, Inventing Anna, which dramatized her rise and fall with a stylized, glossy lens. The series sparked renewed debate about the culture that celebrates the very kind of reckless ambition she embodied. Critics argued that the show glamorized fraud, while others saw her as a cautionary figure, a reminder that the allure of wealth can blind even the most discerning circles. In the years following her release, Delvey attempted to rebuild a legitimate career, offering consulting services on branding and personal image, while still facing civil lawsuits from former victims seeking compensation. Subscribe to The Verdict for more stories like this.